to continue our analysis of this ongoing development, critically looking at the developments as they have evolved and as they continue to evolve. Let's not forget, over the weekend, this matter continued to trend amongst other issues as far as the weekend is concerned. Joining me via Skype is a friend, legal luminary. Well, as you all know, I'm a student of the law, and I have plenty of lawyers as friends. And this one's very dear to me because he's also an author and a public affairs analyst in the person of Ahmed Momo. Ahmed, it's great to have you join us this morning. It would have been great to have you in the studio, but I know duty calls and you have to be in Lagos. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. I'm very glad to be here, John. This is amazing as always.
And before I forget, one of your greatest fans in the house, Cynthia Agbon, sends her regards and says, I should find out, when are you sending the flight ticket to Lagos so she can come join you?
No, I think it's me coming to Abuja. That should be very soon.
Okay.
So reverse it.
I'm sure she's listening. Well, Ahmed, let's get down to brass tacks. So much has happened between last week and now. And of course, one of the biggest stories that made the rounds is the fact that former governor of Kogi State, Yahaya Bello, is now a wanted man by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, and the Nigerian government, as it were. Now, the Civil Rights Realization and Advancement Network, CRRAN, has said that the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, lacks the power to use the military to arrest ex-governor Yahaya Bello or any other citizen for that matter. Now, according to CRRAN, to the deployment of the military in any operation, even by the president, is subject to the provision of Section 21 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And the court has affirmed this position of the law. Should this be an issue at all? I mean, or is it just a distraction to delay the anti-graft agency from carrying out its duty?
Very well. I think the angle we should look at it is that laws must not, it's not just about making laws, it's about how you enforce it, how you implement it. The optics matter as much as the substance. And in a situation where, you know, the thing is looking extremely messy, the average Nigerian cannot put his hands to it and say, okay, I understand that this is how government also act. Then why invest the situation? Why invest the situation? You know? So I think that the next theatrics is not just unfortunate, it's calculated to reduce the entirety of the Nigerian legal system. So to laugh and talk, it's becoming like a comedy right now. You know?
I agree with you. I agree with you because there's a whole lot of back and forth, and these commentaries are coming from legal luminaries. On one hand, you have a set of legal luminaries who say the EFCC is not empowered or does not have the local standing to arrest or prosecute the former governor. And then you have, on the other hand, another set of legal luminaries who are very much in support of the anti-graft agency carrying out its constitutional function.
Absolutely, you use the right word there. It's called constitutional function. And if it's constitutional in Nigeria, nothing can override it. Nothing. Nobody. You can't wish away the constitution. You can only amend the constitution and it goes away. Otherwise, any law or any policy that is directly conflicting with the constitution is a waste of time. You know. So the reality, as we speak right now, is that the EFCC has unfettered right to investigate and prosecute. And if you come up with the reason why they cannot investigate and prosecute, nobody's going to listen to you. I don't think EFCC should listen to no court, as a matter of fact, we tell EFCC don't investigate this. It's not possible. I've not read the entirety of the judgment, but I dare to say no. But what can actually limit and curtail how this is done? Persecution is different from prosecution. And we have seen time and time again where some people are being persecuted. This is not prosecution. There is no, the intent here is against the person as against the action or the crime itself. So when this happens, people can run to court like Yahaya Bello did and obtain a court order. The way this prosecution is going on is clear that their intent on disgracing me, destroying my personality, and dragging me to the mud. And a fundamental matter, a right matter, is a constitutional matter. Therefore, if anybody approaches the court for a fundamental right matter, rightly or wrongly, both parties ought to relax, regardless of who that person is. We may like him or we may not like him. But this is a fundamental, and if there's a judgment from the court on a fundamental right, knowing that it's flows directly from the Constitution, I don't think any investigative agency should take on a step without, first of all, trying to vacate that order. After all, it's a high court matter. We have a court of appeal. Crimes don't have expiry date. You understand? So if it doesn't have an expiry date, what are you afraid that the evidence today will ever?
So
you know what I mean? So I think that
is it an issue of process on the part of the EFCC, or is it that because last Friday I had a legal luminary in the person of Tony Doko in the House, and he emphasized that the current leadership of the EFCC is trying to give its organization a human face. That unlike what we saw in the past where we had midnight raids and, all kinds of apprehensions, which, according to him, is backed up by the law, that this time the current administration of the anti-graft agency wants to give the agency a human face in a bid to help Nigerians further appreciate the work that the agency does and it's doing currently. So is it a matter of procedure or a sheer misinterpretation of the provisions of the law?
No, I think it's a matter of procedure here. And if there is a conflict or a confusion, the right thing to do is to go back to the court and kindly interpret some ambiguity here. You don't jump off and do that interpretation. Definitely there's a conflict. Yahaya Bello says he has a restraining order. Yeah, and I dare say that restraining order cannot be more to investigate. But I think this is where a little bit of confusion is coming from. I think what the EFCC went on to do is to therefore finish the investigation and charge him to court.
Yeah,
you have the right as a citizen not to write a statement.
But the argument is that he went to the state high court and not the federal high court to get an injunction stopping his arrest and detainment. Yes,
but it doesn't matter. If you are dealing with a fundamental right matter, you can approach the state high court or a federal high court. I don't think the lawyer should argue that. The law is very clear. There have been several arguments on this, and the court is saying you can approach a federal high court or a state high court when it comes to fundamental right. Now, if he was going strictly to interpret the law, then we have to go to the federal high court.
Yes.
But now he's going to enforce his personal fundamental right, his right to liberty, his dignity, etc. And the right thing to do is to go to any court of his convenience. And we can't cherry pick courts. We have to give the courts, we have to give our judiciary respect. It's for regardless of even if it's a magistrate court or a customary court judge. It's a court, for crying out loud. There's a sacredness that goes with it. So if there's a judgment from the court, I'm not a fan or a friend of anybody in this regard. I'm just saying that our system, our law enforcement agents really need to place emphasis on the respect of the law. Let people see that if you have a judgment, it means a lot. And it may be longhand to go back to vacate or ask for to come to set aside his judgment, or further get verification in that regard. But that longhand is needed. I dare say it's extremely necessary to protect our democracy.
I agree with you. I agree with you. Maybe I agree with you. Maybe that is why CRRAN's argument is that the section applies only to states where there is emergency, strikes, or riots requiring the intervention of the federal government through the President and the National Assembly. But EFCC prosecutor Kemi Pinero, SAN, quoted Section 12 of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act, ACJA, 2015, which makes it necessary to use the military to apprehend any individual. And in this case, we're talking about a former governor. So is there some ambiguity in the interpretation of this Section 12 of this Administration of Criminal Justice Act, or are we aligning towards, like you said, the constitutional provision when it comes to the subject of fundamental human rights?
Yeah, I think it is settled that if any law, any policy, I dare say, some say any judgment, but I think we put a caveat aside as a judgment. But definitely, any law or policy that directly or indirectly, or let's be very clear, that directly conflicts, clearly conflicts with any provision of the Constitution, law is null and void to the extent of its inconsistency. Therefore, the Constitution is the coconut. The Constitution is the proverbial coconut. The rest laws are the eggs. It doesn't matter who. What matters is that the coconut is intact. That's the Constitution. It's grown on. So anybody coming with a constitutional provision automatically has a stronger argument. But I agree here. Where I think we should focus our light is what EFCC is asking Governor Yahaya Bello to do. Is the EFCC charging? Because I don't see any reason why you cannot charge an individual. There's nothing I have found at my investigations. Go to court. This is not about me anymore, and I think this is where they are.
So for Yahaya Bello, he shouldn't be in hiding. Is that what you're saying?
No, if you are charged, absolutely. If you have been charged to court, it's no longer EFCC doing anything. We are not detaining you. We are not harassing you. We have concluded our investigations for that matter. Therefore, we are charging you. Go to court. I think that should be a question people should be asking now. We have charged you. Some people are saying, how can you charge him without placement? I say the principles of hearing all the authoring parties, hearing for both ears, is a judicial principle. Nobody tells any prosecutor how he's going to do his case. I don't want to listen to you. I have enough evidence to win the case, to conclude my case. It is in your best interest to come and defend yourself. But if you choose and elect not to put a statement, not to tell me your angle, I don't care. I know for you I have enough to put you down. The court on its own was listening to both ears. But the prosecutors don't necessarily need, they don't need to. A prosecutor can finish his case, charge you, and win that case solely on other evidence. No, it doesn't need evidence per se. So I think that when people say because EFCC has not gotten a statement, they have not listened to the side, I don't think EFCC is posing any duty of care to listen to both sides of the argument. The moment the matter is in court, we should go to court. And when it's in court, gladly is going to get bail. Definitely we get bail. Whilst the matter is going on, they can save Nigeria at the time, save the sanctity of our country, save the sanctity of the judiciary, reduce all the less drama and theatrics that are extremely distracting to the core of what the everyday Nigeria is going through. And most important, I think they should give the judiciary respect. There are people now saying, what's the point of the court? You have a judgment. You have one judgment from High Court, of the federal court. We have seen it time and time again, and it's because it's still it's not soup. Most Nigerians eat whether they like it or not.
I agree with you because Nigerians are a bit taken aback by the back and forth and the fact that legal luminaries are the ones who have taken the center stage as far as this unfolding drama is concerned. And so there's a bit of confusion as to who to believe, what to listen to, and what not to listen to, considering the fact that most Nigerians are not so knowledgeable about the law. But let's go back to Kogi State now, where even a lawyer has insisted that the incumbent governor, Usman Ododo, should be impeached for shielding his predecessor and a political benefactor from being arrested by the EFCC. Now, is there a constitutional provision that suggests that an incumbent governor cannot provide some shield, some protection for his predecessor in a situation as this? Because as far as I can remember, I don't think that in the history of Nigerian politics we have seen a development of this nature, but I stand corrected.
The laws as regards this very touchy issue. First of all, there are two things to see. There's something called gross misconduct. Are you with me?
Yes, I'm with you.
Very well. Okay. Now, gross misconduct is the grandest of all arguments why a House of Assembly, in this case, can impeach sitting governor. Mind you, the immunity governor has is so powerful, is round, and is intentional to protect the sanctity of our democracy. We don't want anybody kicking out the governors. Governors should sit knowing that they are free from distractions and disturbances, typically. So it's often said that the governor can do no wrong. Not just the governor, the president and the deputy, and the vice, the governor and his deputy. So they are shielded entirely from Section 308. However, in instances where you now commit something that is seemingly a crime, a screening of offender is a crime. That's basically what happened. You shielded somebody from law enforcement agents. So that's the angle. If that seems to be a crime, then there will be an argument there.
Is that
but what the courts have not done in Nigeria, and I just say, is defining what amounts to gross misconduct. Defining what amounts to gross misconduct. Sometimes this particular principle has been grossly abused, no pun intended, has been grossly abused, that it's difficult to now place your hand on it and say, this is gross misconduct, this is not gross misconduct. It seemed to me that gross misconduct is anything the members of the House of Assembly say is gross misconduct. And you say that's not the right way to work in a country. You can't just cherry pick today, this is gross misconduct, tomorrow this is not gross misconduct. I think the governor should continue to enjoy his immunity. I think that this should this particular action, people shouldn't waste time until they impeach a governor singularly for this purpose. But besides, don't forget, the governor is acting on what he believes is the right part of the law, protecting the law, being that his own state judiciary has protected or given a judgment. So he, in his mind, is enforcing the judgment of the state judiciary. So in his mind, his intent may not be to break the law. I'm not speaking as his aid or anything, but I think that we shouldn't waste time into that pit of driving left, right, and saying that the governor can come with a very powerful argument and say, the state's high court here in Lokoja gave a judgment, and I'm a sitting governor, I'm the chief executive officer of the state, and I dare protect the court. Yeah, that's the angle the governor will come from. So I don't see that this has really developed in the angle of but for example, every single person, all the judges, they have gone to the High Court, the Court of Appeal, vacated this judgment, and they have asked that, okay, this man is in your house and you still don't want to release him. Then that is now coming squarely into the ambit of gross misconduct. But for now, I think the governor has a very clear pass.
Now,
yes.
You talked about immunity that the current governor enjoys. Does that immunity also cover giving asylum in such a matter as this? Because we need to be able to know where to draw the lines. Where does immunity start? Where does it end? To what extent can immunity cover certain actions, especially for a sitting governor? So in this matter, does Usman Ododo's immunity grant him room to provide some form of asylum, as it were, for Yahaya Bello?
Yes. The basic question to answer now is, when does it become a crime? The commit a crime has to be present. The mental element must be present before he has committed a crime. You know, and then that will be screening of offenders.
No.
Right?
Okay.
The mental element is here. In his mind, and he's saying that there is a state high court who gave a judgment. Don't arrest this man. How can you arrest him against the judgment of the court? So he will be arguing, or his lawyers will be arguing, that the governor is not breaking the law, is not shielding an offender, rather is enforcing the sanctity of the judiciary of the state, which is the governor's duty to do anyways, you know, protect the judgment of the state. So this is where it's going to be tricky. However, if the Court of Appeal have vacated the judgment of the High Court, and Usman Ododo continues to shield and protect and protect asylum, as it seems, for a wanted man, then he's definitely committing a crime, and then the House can go together and properly argue that this is gross misconduct, and you know, on that basis they can kick him out. But just a question, just to put it clear, the immunity we have, a governor can walk in the street, shoot somebody, and he's still a governor. We saw him with a gun, he shot somebody. You can call it homicide, murder, whatever language, he's still a governor. Until and unless the State House impeaches him, it is until he's impeached that he can now suffer any consequence. But once it's there, the immunity is absolute. Absolute. You can do and undo. Same for a president, same for his vice and the deputy governor also.
Okay. Now we have a situation where everybody's waiting to see the turn of events with regards to the EFCC and Yahaya Bello. Some school of thought have suggested that all the EFCC had said that they had given him enough time to come and answer questions, especially with regards to the new charge of 80 billion naira money laundering that has been put against him. That all he needed to do was just answer those questions. That if he had done that, we wouldn't be seeing all the drama we've seen thus far. Is it about answering questions, or is it because I had asked on Friday when I had Tony Idoko on the show, that could it be, as suggested in some quarters, that he's being politically witch hunted by using the machinery of state to try to intimidate his person?
To be honest, I'm not going to align with that school of thought. I think the EFCC lately has shown to have a new face. I do not see them in that. We know we used to have an EFCC that was one-sided, running simply and strictly after their perceived political opponents. That happened in our lifetime in this country. We are not going to forget. We don't have political amnesia. I don't think it's fair to say that Nigerians are in that era right now. It's not true. We are not seeing people. At the end of the day, we know that Governor Yahaya Bello, ex-Governor Yahaya Bello, is still with the ruling party. He has not become defected. We also know that despite the fact that he was the last northern governor contesting with the sitting president at the moment, he later on supported the president and became the youth leader, or the youth in charge of youth mobilization with the president. Yes. And he worked hard with that purpose. He didn't go left or right. He continued there. And I do not see that they have any issue of fracas particularly. None has come out. I think the EFCC is acting professionally. And I think in recent times, this is probably one of the best times we've seen EFCC with their professionalism. They seem to be, I mean, of course, these are Nigerians, these are the same people there. So we're not expecting, a complete whitewash overnight, in our, but obviously, I do not think the EFCC has descended to the realm of witch hunting like we used to do in the past. I think the climate is different now, so I'm not going to subscribe to that. However, I think that the governor still down to go left and right. I'm inviting you for this. I just urge the EFCC to do the proper thing in this regard. Either go to the court and say, oh, maybe you need to set aside this judgment, or go to a higher court, and try and do the same, depending on what rule or ask for further interpretation of this judgment. Are you saying I cannot investigate him? Are you saying that I cannot invite him? Let's have some level of clarity from this before we go left or right. That will not just be helping. I'm not looking at Governor Yahaya Bello here. I'm looking at the precedence and the integrity of the judiciary.
Exactly. I was going to ask that what precedence is all of this going to set, for all parties concerned, the EFCC, the judiciary, and for even sitting governors who are watching this unfolding drama? Because right now, if Nigerians are to rate the performance of most of the governors in just about 8 to 9 months since they've occupied office, less than a handful of them could be said to have performed creditably so far with the resources at their disposal. So for me, and I'm sure that's the thought of most Nigerians, what precedence is all of this setting for all the parties involved?
I think, sadly speaking, it's the same script, different actors. Same script, different actors. We have seen this story before. It has happened time and time with different actors, but it's the same script. And and I hope we get to a place where we have a sanctity. I'm particularly excited that we have an exceedingly competent Attorney General. Say anything about him, nobody will argue. No lawyer will argue about the competence of the Attorney General of the Federation. And I think that he now ought to step in as the chief law officer of this country, step in and, clear out some of all these needless drama and theatrics happening all around. Court judgment ought to be at all points respected, to say the least. There's a judgment now, you go to another court to get a varying judgment, sometimes without telling that court that this matter was already in court. I think this is what causes the confusion. It's an abuse of the court process, to be honest. And so when you start seeing that we have conflicting cases and all that, maybe there should be some penalty for officers, maybe pecuniary penalty, not necessarily, just fines and costs. If you have failed to disclose to the court that this matter you're asking the court position on, it has already been litigated or is subject to litigation. If you fail to mention that and you just go get one expertise somewhere, I think that there ought to be serious cost in this regard. Maybe that will stop. Yeah. And the cost should not go to the government. That should go to whoever officers seal is on that process. Let it come from your salary. That way, I'm sure many people will be very careful going left and right. I think the proper thing to still do is to go to that state high court. I have so much confidence in our judiciary, particularly the high courts across the countries. Court of appeal. Most people just think of it. I think it's Supreme Court. I know. I mean, the workload in the Supreme Court Court of Appeal, we know it's enormous, even the high courts, but fairly speaking, most high courts and across the country tend to have very hardworking judges out there. And I think this is where matters should. Most of us, our matters is at the high court. Few of us, it descends to the Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court. And I think that what we need to do in this regard is to see that at all costs, if there's a judgment, it may take time. But it's better to take time and do the right thing than to rush and create a feeling. The cost of this is not whether judgment is done wrong or right. The cost is the image of the judiciary in the average mind of Nigerians. And there's no need to go to court and say, court is like this, there will be good government. There is no certainty. So people rather go to shrines to settle land disputes. I kid you not. I'm not joking about it. Rather go to shrines and swear and go down to go to the court because they're like, first of all, court will take forever. Even if the judgment will respect it. I have judgments, pending that instead of the government to, if even the government to respect the judgment awarded from the court, they would rather want to appeal and find all ways to just continue stalling the judicial process. So ordinary people are losing faith in the judiciary.
True.
We as players and actors in this matter must ensure and speak to our employers. If you're in the public sector, speak to your employers, allow them know that this is going to affect us as lawyers. By the time people don't have confidence in the judiciary, why should a child read law? Why should anybody read law? Why should anybody want to sue anybody, knowing fully well that this will end up in drama? So we need to have a decent, a sane legal climate in this country, for crying out loud. It's not perfect anywhere in the world, but at least there can be some level of sanity that will bring confidence to every Jack and Joe, regardless of who you are, regardless of who your father is, regardless of your. We can have a clean judiciary. We can have it. We can do that, and we should do that. Every other angle in this country can fall apart, but let's preserve the judiciary, for crying out loud. It's so important. It's so important.
I agree with you. I agree with you. I'm going to sample your thoughts on some of the latest developments, especially in the closing stages of last week. The arraignment of Obi Cubana. Before that, of course, was Bobrisky. And of course, again, the back and forth as to whether the EFCC has the power to prosecute abuse of the Naira and a whole lot of other developments. All of that when we come back from this break. Do stay with us.
Thank you very much.
My name is Akio Sakiodo.
Hey guys, this is Anto Lecky.
My name is Leo Bliss.
My name is Akava. I go by the name Baba D.
And you're tuned into Rapid TV. And I love Rapid TV.
Shout out
Rapid TV.
Thank you, Rapid TV. Please keep watching
Rapid TV. This is Rapid TV.
Rapid TV.
Keep watching.
Keep it down.
Leave it like that.
It's still KORERO, the conversation, and Rapid TV's evolving social, political, and general interest program. I am Nkamiang John, the beloved, also known as the controversial. And of course, today on the show, we continue analysis of the unfolding drama between the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, and the former governor of Kogi State in the person of Yahaya Bello, especially as varied reactions have continued to follow all of these developments while a legal uproar is in the offering in Kogi State as a lawyer, Deji Ajare, has called for the impeachment of Governor Usman Ododo over his alleged involvement in shielding his political benefactor, Yahaya Bello, from arrest. The Civil Rights Realization and Advancement Network, CRRAN, has said that the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, lacks the power to use the military to arrest the ex-governor and any citizen for that matter, or invade the Kogi State government house. Now, you would recall that Yahaya Bello had failed to attend court last Thursday for arraignment, resulting in the EFCC prosecutor, Kemi Pinero, SAN, saying the government would not mind inviting the military to bring him to court. Well, discussing these and more, of course, for almost 45 minutes thereabout, is my friend, a legal luminary, an author, and of course a public affairs analyst in the person of Ahmed Momo. Ahmed, once again, thank you for your time so far on the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
All right, just a little update, just for those, just in case you don't know, that the Inspector General of Police, IGP Kayode Egbetokun, has withdrawn all police officers assigned to the former Kogi governor. This move was contained in a police directive, further intensifies the political turbulence surrounding Yahaya Bello. As tensions escalate and legal battles loom, the fate of Governor Usman Ododo hangs in the balance, awaiting the decision of the Kogi State House of Assembly following the ongoing legal uproar in the state. As I had said earlier, Deji Ajare, a lawyer, has called for the impeachment of the governor over his alleged involvement in shielding his predecessor, Yahaya Bello. Now, Ahmed, let's look at the situation where, as a result of Section 12 of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act 2015, which makes it necessary to use the military to apprehend any individual, talk more of a former governor in the person of Yahaya Bello, Mr. President authorizes an invasion of the Kogi State government house. Will this be considered unconstitutional, an assault on the rule of law, and the Kogi State symbol of authority and the people of Kogi State?
Yeah, I saw a very interesting argument, and honestly, it seems sound. That, you know, the immunity is on the person and not the property. However, the problem there with that argument is the other part. So if the governor has immunity, therefore, he's still the sitting governor. And as a sitting governor, he's telling the security operatives within him, don't allow anybody in. This is my order. And those people now say, no, I won't obey you. You won't obey a sitting governor, the chief executive of that state, with the powers of the law, sworn into office as a governor. He says, don't allow anybody in. Do you understand? But this is where the problem actually lies in. We know that the governor, as much as we've been saying this for a while, the governors are they really the chief executive of their states, where you cannot hire and fire, you cannot hire a commissioner of police, the only thing you can hire is vigilante. Those are your real security agents, to be honest, because the military, of course, I mean, that's clear, that's exclusive. People, the police, all of them, the entire organizations are the federal government. That's exclusive legislative place. So you see that the government is basically helpless when it comes to security.
So with
every security agent there listens to.
So with what you're saying, we could see a situation where the IGP is instructed to pull the security personnel on the security detail of the governor, same for the DSS, just to be able to make it possible for maybe the EFCC or any other agency to have access to Government House, all in a bid to apprehend Yahaya Bello. Is that what you're suggesting?
I think something similar where the governor Gigi was allegedly kidnapped and dropped in the boot of the vehicle and driven several miles by his police attachment. That's the story we had. Till date, I would like to see a rebuttal or a clarity on that story. That would make a very nice Hollywood or Nollywood movie, to be honest. But we don't want to go back to that scenario, you know, where the federal government and the state government are arguing. The intent of our constitution is that a state is separate, is complete. It's a unit, a complete unit on its own, and willfully participating in this marriage of convenience with 36 states, as it were, are married together, and they came up with the land to say, let our official home be Abuja, but each of these states are independent on their own. And it is overreaching for the federal government most times to come to really need to go back to the intent of the law. A state is a separate entity, full. I think we should have state police. I think that part is something that will happen as soon as possible. But this is where those who are arguing against state police will come in and say, imagine if Governor Ododo had his police, we're not going to have a civil war of some sort. Arrest here. Yeah, and this can be corrected. This can be corrected. I think the right thing to do is, if the argument of Governor Usman will still be that there is a sitting judgment from the Kogi State High Court, a state that has sworn to protect and preserve the best of my ability. And a judgment from the court of that state says this man should not be arrested or detained or whatsoever the extent of the judgment says. Until and unless we have gotten clarity from the courts, then no action should be taken. Otherwise, it's going to drag us further into this mud. It's going to be a battle of two peaks, and the dirtier peak becomes the winner. At the end of the day, nobody comes out clean.
True. Just before I let you go,
we don't need this spectacle.
Yeah, just before I let you go, what's your take on the argument that the EFCC does not have the power to arrest and persecute Nigerians for the abuse of the Naira? Last week and the preceding week, we saw the EFCC arrest and arraign Bobrisky and popular cross-dresser. And then last week we saw socialite, one of Nigeria's most celebrated socialite, Obi Kubana, also appear in court, pleaded not guilty, got a 10 million naira bail, and there's so much argument in the polity, those for, against, and of course different interpretations for the two scenarios. But what's your take on all of this?
I think, first of all, a little bit of correction there. Not Obi Kubana, Kubana chief priest.
Sorry, Kubana chief priest. Thank you so much for that correction.
And, but with Bobrisky, I think, his lawyer advised him to plead guilty. And that's why he found himself very, I guess it's a very difficult offense to prove. How are you going to show that this? I was praying, saw me spray money. I'm sure this was not what the movie said. What was the intent behind this action? You know, the reality is that the vultures, the will of the Nigerian people, have authorized the spraying money.
Money, exactly.
It's not a tradition. It's even a religious tradition in many customs. You know, the way cola is broken in many cultures is in contradiction. You know, I've had a culture about breaking cola or not. But for those of us that are elders in our communities, we know what we are talking about. To break cola, you must wage it with Naira. You understand? Are you telling an Olorogu in the States are allowed to break it and and so quote unquote abuse the naira. That was seen as it is. So there are many laws in this country, in many countries. There are laws that are strictly not enforceable because of the practicality of it. The reality is to cherry pick. When I like face, I don't have any problem with you, then I will arrest you. If the EFCC is serious trying to prosecute this crime, the police build us 1 million prison in the next 48 months. I believe we want to start charging this offense because crimes don't have expiry dates. They don't have. We can start taking old footage. Thank God footages have come from several people. Who do you decide? Who do you think should? If you cannot arrest this crime, nobody should be arrested. It's fair. It's common sense. No, so OJA is supposed to say the will of the people. So you cannot make a law that is in contravention with the will of the people and you expect the law to work. This bullying oppression, it is temporal. If you go back again, I'm saying that we need more sensitization. I don't think scapegoatism is a decent principle of law. I will never support scapegoatism. Why should that person suffer and not the grandfather in the village who was paying the same money without knowing that he's committing an offense? So how do you decide who to punish? Therefore, you don't like my case and you say, I punish you, I don't punish you. We start sitting governor spraying money. When you finish them, are you going to arrest him? Are you saying that even those who arrested him have not gone to events where money was sprayed and you're in Nigeria? Let's be honest with ourselves. OJA simply mean the will, the spirit of the people. The spirit of the Nigerian people have not criminalized spraying of the naira. And until a people, let me put it this way, if you have been convicted for spraying naira, you are pitied, you are empathized with, you are not hated, you are not seen as an outcast, you are not isolated. People don't see that, no, I can't deal with this guy, he's an ex-convict. What happened to him? I love. People for you, and people who ordinarily will not like you will start giving you some empathy because Nigerians are generally good people. Forget the image going out there. So when injustice has been done, justice must never be used to serve injustice. Punishing a few in an offense that is so widespread that every single day in this country, we have millions of it happening. It's unfair. It shouldn't happen. Rather, the judiciary should be used as a system for 6 months. Anyways, like I said, with risk, he pleaded guilty. Friend from Kogi, the Cubana chief priest, rather, who said, well, I'm not guilty, we have enough to argue. And they say, I've been winning that case. It's an uphill task because he who alleged proof. Yes, to show me the money I sprayed. You saw the video. Where's the video? Where's the original of that video? Where did you get that video from? Is that a video that can be relied on in court?
Exactly.
Evidence. I'm not saying one thing. It's you to prove. So do this. The reality of the matter is that the judicial process is not ABC, as people say. They are processed with it. So I don't see them winning any case except the person pleads guilty. If not, I don't see them winning any case on this. It's impossible. People will need to incriminate themselves before you can get judgment. Otherwise, how do you do it? Where you get the witnesses from? Where you get the witnesses from? Without evidence, how are you going to prove a fact? In any way, and if you are showing video, how are we sure that video is authentic? Who was the one that recorded it? Is the person coming to say, I get it? So we should media try. I think that just gets distracting Nigerians to get the reality of many things. They are doing a great job. This is not one of the great jobs they are doing. This is not one of they are doing. It seems to be gross injustice in my opinion.
Well, thank you so much, Ahmed. You have shed so much light on our conversation this morning, and I can't wait to have you back in Abuja so that we can have further discussions live here in the show, and I'm sure Cynthia will be happy that you'll be back to the FCT. But once again, thank you so much, and have a wonderful, wonderful week.
Thank you so much, John. My pleasure as always.
Well, that's the conversation this morning. Of course, we will keep our searchlight continually beamed on the developments going on in Kogi State with regards to the EFCC and, of course, Yahaya Bello. Now we hear Usman Ododo too is facing his own pot of hot water, as the case may be, with suggestions that he should be impeached for shielding his political benefactor and predecessor. So much on the table. EFCC chasing the abuse of the Naira, to be or not to be. Do they have the powers or not? Plenty of argument. In fact, there is a controversial side to this conversation, and hopefully, before the week runs out, you know I like controversy, we will have that conversation. But for now, this is where we draw the curtains on this edition of KORERO. I am Nkamian John the Beloved, also known as the Controversial, signing out.